Howdy, folks, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I am Melissa.
I am basically Luke.
And we are here discussing chapter number 20 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, The Dementor's Kiss. This chapter was a mere 8 pages long, which is 2.59% of this book, and tied for the second shortest chapter of the entire series.
And now, a voice of the Imaginary Legion.
Chapter 20, Fear Monger's Makeout. Crookshanks, Lupin, Pettigrew, Ron, Snape, Sirius, Harry, and Hermione were walking out of the Shrieking Shack, leading into the grounds of Hogwarts. While walking, Sirius told Harry about what will happen when they turn in Pettigrew. Sirius informing Harry, saying that he will be free. Maybe Harry could live with him. As Sirius was saying this, Harry was so excited. Harry was saying that he could leave the Dursleys for good. As they were walking into the grounds of Hogwarts, when they were all ready to go up to the school, the moon came out of the shadows. Lupin's body began to change, while Hermione said that he didn't take his potion. Black holding on to Lupin while he said to Ron, "He isn't safe around people." Black backing up slowly while Lupin transformed into a werewolf. Black left, then came back in his dog form. As Black jumps onto Lupin's back, scratching and biting at each other, the battle against two good friends started. Pettigrew went free from hostage from Ron's arm, got Lupin's wand. Harry snatched it from his hand, and Pettigrew transformed and ran away. Then Harry heard a dog crying. Harry and Hermione ran to see what was the matter. Then they felt a shiver of cold and sadness. Harry saw what was the matter. Dementors. Harry started to think of something happy, while saying Expecto Patronum, a spell that Lupin taught him. Harry and Hermione kept on saying that until Harry yells it out and white shots of light comes out from his wand. Hermione fainted next to him. He was alone. Harry fell to his knees, feeling the cold grass. Expecto Patronum, he muttered over and over again. On one of the Dementors got close, took his hood off, and started the Dementor's kiss, while he heard screaming from his mother. Then he was blinded with something he didn't know. He fainted, and the Dementors were leaving.
Guess what?
What?
Still no more new people.
Still the same calendar day.
Also true. Have not passed midnight yet. It's got to be close.
It's getting late. You know,
Yep.
It's dark, right? The sun, the
sun's going down.
Moon's
Big guy.
definitely out.
Sun's getting real low. Sorry. It's an Avengers reference. Hi there, big guy.
For the people who know it, I'm sure
You're
they loved
welcome.
It. Yep. No character introductions. Same group of folks.
Same people. Same day. Same basic places.
Location intro. This might be a stretch, but the first time on the shore of the lake, they've gone walking by the lake before. It's been a couple
been there.
chapters, so a bit of a stretch.
There's not even any new magicabulary.
No, pretty short to the point in this chapter.
I bet we have an illustration.
We do have a new illustration this chapter.
One would hope.
And yeah, that's a good picture.
That's intimidating.
I like this one a lot. You have the wand light, which you have Harry basically with the wall of Dementors, and it looks like I guess Sirius's body.
I thought it was Hermione's.
Is it Hermione? I think you're right.
It's girly.
These pictures in the phone, pretty small, pretty hard to see at times.
Can I take issue with the fact that Harry is once again wearing a cape?
He is.
He's not a superhero.
He's also left-handed in this picture.
That is true.
I'm not saying I have an issue with people that are left-handed.
No, we're amazing.
They're fine. But Harry, I think in canon, is not left-handed.
I believe he's right-handed because chapter number 6 or so of Sorcerer's Stone says, "What is your wand hand?" He goes, "I'm right-handed." So
It's chapter 5.
Chapter 5. Whatever.
But yeah, no, it's a little odd that they chose that.
I like the sparkly whiteness.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
The Patronus little blurb, right?
I'm a big fan of your Wall of Dementors description. I think that is an apt description for what we see here.
Thanks.
But you're right. The left-handedness and the cape. A little weird.
Heroes gotta wear capes.
Heroes don't wear capes. Ask Edna Mole. So, we got some notes. What's your notes?
I think one of the nicest moments we've had in this book is the Sirius offering Harry a new home outside of Hogwarts scene. It's quick. It's, clearly cut off. But it's really nice for Harry to actually have something like this. And, where we know the chapter goes, it's a little like, this might not happen. I don't know.
Well, I have always thought of that moment as one of my favorite moments of the series. There's not many good things that happen for Harry. And that moment was a good thing. So even though, like you said, the rest of the chapter kind of like throws us off on a leftward slant, knowing that Harry has that connection with an adult who wants him, just being wanted is a huge change for his world.
And this is about the first time he has an outside of Hogwarts positive connection, other than like the Weasleys, but really he hasn't experienced that all that much.
Right.
He's been to the Burrow once and he did that.
And he's the friend. He's not the son.
Right.
And this time he actually gets to be somebody's kid.
And it's not a, hey, you can go here for part of the summer. It's no, this can just be where you go.
You just live here.
Yeah.
Wherever that is.
Wherever that is.
Do you have a house?
Right. We know he's got a prison cell waiting for him. Maybe they can share that. I don't know.
The commute to Hogwarts would be difficult from there.
And like right along with that, the description of Sirius's smile.
Oh yeah.
It's just nice to see that it goes both ways, because we know how Harry's going to feel about this.
Right.
We're not surprised by that at all. But the way Sirius is kind of timid in asking, he's like, I understand if you don't want to. And then Harry's like, no, are you kidding me? Like, that's like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
And basically, Sirius's gaunt face broke into the first true smile Harry had seen upon it. The difference it made was startling, as though a person 10 years younger were shining through the starved mask. For a moment, he was recognizable as the man who had laughed at Harry's parents' wedding. So it's nice to see Harry go through and finally kind of reattach the true nature of Sirius from what his perception of Sirius has been throughout this entire book. The betrayal and all of this, and the way he learned it was pretty rough. And it's nice to see that all of that betrayal that Harry felt, he realizes was unjust, and it's come full circle on itself now. And he's like, this is the guy that my parents put in charge of my guardianship.
Yes, I agree. Something else I really liked about that scene, small thing, just on the side of it, as they're having this massive heart to heart, bonding moment, they're also in charge of Snape, who's drifting along, and every once in a while, his head bumps up against the top of the ceiling, and it just says,
get closer to the mic.
So it just says that Black was still making Snape drift along ahead of him. He kept bumping his lolling head on the low ceiling. Harry had the impression Black was making no effort to prevent this. I like that, because even in this wonderful moment, you still have Snape like saying, yeah, Snape, I don't really care about you. Oh, you bumped your head.
Whoops. Not sorry. Happened again.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Good luck.
Couldn't help it.
Darn. Gonna have a headache tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. So we then get a direct Moonlight werewolfery transformation. We had this discussion a little bit, I think, in maybe one of our unrestricted sections.
At some point we have discussed this.
If it is dependent on direct Moonlight for a werewolf to turn. Because we've had so many opportunities to talk about werewolves in these first 3 books. Which this really is the time.
This is it.
That we finally have confirmation that, yeah, there's a thing.
Yes.
It's a thing.
Yes. And it looks terrible.
It does. It sounds painful.
But I don't like that it has to be direct moonlight. I feel like it should just be on the night of the full moon. But
so even if you're inside, which, I mean, if he's in the Shrieking Shack, right?
He should be fine, yes. Right?
Yeah.
Night of the full moon.
I think this is more of a narrative
dramatic effect
is exactly what
convenient
I think it is.
timing.
Yeah, because she has to have them all get outside so that it's easier for the rat to escape.
Blah, blah, blah.
When technically it sounds like if the moon's already up in the sky, probably should have turned into a werewolf like while they were in the shack together.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think they still could have made that happen though, where he turns into a wolf in there and Pettigrew, as a little rat, runs out faster than everybody.
But I think it would have been harder for everybody else to get out. This gets everybody out themselves faster, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. But it's right here, direct moonlight for werewolfery.
Right. So, can we just jump right to the Dementor's attack?
Let's do it. There's really not a whole lot else. There's
it's
Sirius,
8 pages.
Sirius being, protective.
Yep.
That's
which is fabulous.
And then they all go running off in different directions, everyone involved.
Run away.
Yep.
But they're on the beach and Sirius is being attacked by the Dementors. Poor Harry tries so hard to make a Patronus. Like for him, it's a do or die, life or death moment. And he's trying it. He just can't do it. It's like crushing to watch him fail.
And like we're in his thought process of trying to think of things and
trying to stay focused.
And I think clearly, the thing that just happened is easily going to be the happiest thing that he can think of.
Right.
The being told you're going to go live with Sirius. Like that's huge. That's everything he's ever wanted is to get, a welcoming, nice, warm home outside of the Dursleys. And it's also very recent. So I think it's going to be about as strong of a happy feeling as you could muster. I think there's just so many Dementors that it's even him. It just isn't quite there.
Well, and here's another thing that I found very interesting. As he's trying to produce a Patronus, which is still just that white misty thing, it said, a dead slimy hand slid out from under the cloak. It made a gesture as though to sweep the Patronus aside. Can Dementors sweep Patronuses, or can they just sweep, like, the humble beginnings? Right.
That's kind of what I think it is. It, like, slows them down, like fog, as opposed to something
Shield.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's probably just a nuisance for it, but I imagine that it could kind of actually sweep it away slowly. But yeah, no, that's interesting that was happening. And, it's a little frightening. The Dementor, like, legitimately was trying to give Harry the Dementor's kiss, right? I mean, that's what it seems like it was going towards. What the heck? Like, seriously? Like, these Dementors are a dangerous thing to have around.
And the fact that they're in charge of anything for real is very disturbing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm with Dumbledore on, no, they will not be in my castle.
So my last kind of big thought on this is that Harry actually gets to see what's under a Dementor's hood.
Can you read the line for me?
Yes. Where there should have been eyes, there was only thin, gray, scabbed skin stretched blankly over empty sockets. But there was a mouth, a gaping, shapeless hole, sucking the air with the sound of a death rattle. And I feel like, and this stood out to me because did somebody ask at some point what was under a Dementor's hood? I couldn't find it.
Harry asked Lupin when they were practicing the Patronus charm.
That's what I thought. And I tried finding it in my book and I could not find it, but I remember that scene happening. Maybe it's in my brain, like just me, but
the scene happened.
Okay.
I'm looking real quick.
Yay.
Chapter 12, the Patronus. What's under a Dementor's hood? Professor Lupin lowered his bottle thoughtfully. Well, the only people who really know are in no condition to tell us. You see, the Dementor lowers its hood only to use its last and worst weapon. What's that? They call it the Dementor's kiss. I suppose there must be some kind of mouth under there because they clamp their jaws upon the mouth of the victim and suck out his soul.
That is like the worst CPR ever.
Yeah, it's legitimately the opposite of CPR.
True.
I mean, at least the breathing portion of it.
Oh, breathing. So overrated. Oh, souls. So unnecessary. Oh, wait. Hold on. Nope, that's not true.
Seem pretty necessary.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, so I think I think the point that you were getting to was maybe there's not much of a description like in the textbook about it. They're not probably the most willing participant in being studied.
True.
The Dementor, that is.
True.
So, I don't know, maybe it's not that uncommon. But you'd think if they do this as like a form of corporal punishment, sort of
It's
thing,
weird.
that someone else is going to see them lower their hood to do this to somebody else, right? Which that person can then describe what it looks like.
I don't know. I have like no comment. It's so odd to me that they're doing it to Harry at all without any justification. That, I mean, unless they do this to other people and then get stopped. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
So it sounds like we're ready for your 5 burning questions.
Sounds like we are. Question 1. Is Ron okay?
No.
Laying motionless on the ground.
After being attacked by Pettigrew.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah, so there was a bright flash of light, and Ron fell to the ground motionless.
And at some point, Hermione says, "What did he do to him?" Hermione whispered. Ron's eyes were only half closed. His mouth hung open. He was definitely alive. They could hear him breathing, but he didn't seem to recognize them. Great.
Yeah, perfect. It's also interesting that they go and check on him, and then they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about that right now. We gotta do this other thing. We gotta go save Sirius. Because
at the moment, nothing's by him.
Right. Yeah. They gotta go to where the more evidently needed portion is. And they don't know what's wrong with Ron, so what are they gonna do? Question 2. Does Peter the person need a wand to transform? Harry stood transfixed by the sight, too intent upon the battle to notice anything else. It was Hermione's scream that alerted him. Pettigrew had dived for Lupin's wand. Ron, unsteady on his bandaged leg, fell. There was a bang and a burst of light, and Ron lay motionless on the ground. Another bang. Crookshanks flew into the air. Ha, that's funny. And back to the earth in a heap. Expelliarmus, Harry yelled, pointing his own wand at Pettigrew. Lupin's wand flew high into the air and out of sight. Stay where you are, Harry shouted, running forward. Too late. Pettigrew had transformed. Harry saw his bald tail whip through the manacle on Ron's outstretched arm and heard a scurrying through the grass.
I am formulating my answer. One moment, please. Okay. I don't believe everyone needs a wand in order to transform. But I think Peter the person might.
Okay.
Here is my evidence.
Sure.
We know Sirius did not need a wand to transform because he was in Azkaban, and you're not going to have a wand in Azkaban. Can we?
I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay, let's assume that.
Fair.
He said back in chapter 19, talking about how he stayed sane while in Azkaban, he said, "I don't know how I did it," he said slowly. "I think the only reason I never lost my mind is that I knew I was innocent. That wasn't a happy thought, so the Dementors couldn't suck it out of me, but it kept me sane and knowing who I am. Helped me keep my powers, whatever those are. So when it all became too much, I could transform in my cell, become a dog. Dementors can't see, he swallowed. They feel their way towards people by feeding off their emotions. They could tell that my feelings were less human, less complex when I was a dog, but they thought, of course, that I was losing my mind like everyone else, so it didn't trouble them. To me, that's proof that Sirius is able to turn into a dog without a wand, that he has very strong magical capabilities. So maybe Animagi don't always need a wand. However, earlier in the book, back in chapter 18, when Lupin was describing to the trio about how the boys decided to join him, how to support him, they couldn't hang out with me when I was a werewolf when they were people, so they decided to become animals. And it said, what did it say? Sorry, wrong section. And they didn't desert me at all. Instead, they did something for me that would make my transformations not only bearable, but the best time of my life. They became Animagi. My dad, too? Said Harry, astonished. Yes, indeed, said Lupin. It took them the best part of 3 years to work out how to do it. Your father and Sirius here were the cleverest students in the school, and lucky they were, because Animagus transformation can go horribly wrong. One reason the ministry keeps a close watch on those attempting it. Peter needed all the help he could get from Sirius and James. Finally, in our 5th year, they managed it. And it's that line. Peter needed all the help he could get. I assume that means that he was never strong enough magically to do it completely alone, that he relied on the wand to channel the power into doing it. Whereas James and Sirius, who had greater magical ability, could.
I think that that could definitely hold some water. I think that's pretty well reasoned. The question is obviously from the line that I just read, he transforms after Harry knocks the wand out of his hand. So I agree that I think you might be right that he can't necessarily do it of his own magical volition. He needs to channel it through the wand. I think that kind of magnifies the ability. But I've never read it as he needed it in this spot, that he basically was trying to use the wand for something else and then transformed after Harry yells at him.
I got the impression he couldn't transform without it. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have just done it earlier?
Because they were all on him. They were all pointing their wands at him. They were shackled together.
And he's a coward.
And yeah, I mean, if he transforms, they even say, Lupin's like, don't even think about transforming. Like, we will kill you if you do that. So they instilled that fear in him. And I think that was going to be enough, if barring, accidental werewolfery.
Right.
So
if it weren't for the accidental werewolfery, we would have been free and clear.
So I know what the movie does. I've never looked at it the same way in the books. So fans, listeners, let us know what you think on that topic. Do you need a wand to transform? Obviously not untransform because
What are you going to do with
reasons?
it?
Yeah.
Reasons.
So please write in and let us know what you think. Question 3. Did the Dementors actively do something to untransform Sirius the dog?
Well, it sure seems like it because he's whining and howling and crying and saying no, no, no. But if that were true, wouldn't they have done that at Azkaban?
I don't know that they knew. This seems like it. Well, I don't know, because did they just recognize him by his emotions or soul feeling?
I don't know.
As a dog this time?
I don't know.
So it's just funny because he runs off as a dog. We hear this yelping and all of this and whining. And then we go over and Sirius the person, is laying on the ground.
Right.
So it sounded like Sirius was in trouble and in pain. So that's what made me think, did they actively untransform him because they know now kind of thing? I don't know. It was just...
It's weird. I wonder if maybe as a dog he got so injured he couldn't hold the magic in. He couldn't maintain the form.
Injured by Lupin, the werewolf?
Maybe.
Fight?
Yeah. And maybe that's part of the magic of animagus, whatever it is, words, that you have to hold your body together.
Sure. Yeah, it's a sustained magic. You still have to concentrate on it, even though, that makes sense.
Yes.
But that's basically from the initial fight, right? Because we know that Lupin werewolf runs into the woods, and I think Sirius runs after Scabbers, right?
Yes.
So it's just the lingering pain from the first battle with the werewolf that catches up to him.
Yeah, probably.
So there weren't new pains.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's vague. I think you could justify it several ways.
And I think that was intentional.
Yeah, leave it open-ended.
Yes.
Question 4. Who does Harry think that he saw across the lake?
Michael Jackson.
Could be.
I don't really know.
He says he looks familiar. Or that person looked familiar, right?
Dumbledore.
A centaur.
Unicorn. Because it was shining like a unicorn.
Probably a unicorn.
Unicorn.
There
Except
it
they
is.
didn't say unicorn. No, it was the Patronus that shined like unicorn. It was a person.
Yeah. And then the Patronus ran back over and was greeted
By the person.
by the person.
Got me all choked up here. Hagrid. No, not Hagrid. I don't know. I got no idea.
I don't know.
Somebody.
It's not Hermione.
Maybe
Ron?
it's a new character.
Ron?
Maybe Ron. They did leave him. Maybe he
Just snapped out of it, which is possible.
totally ran on his broken leg and made it over there. And
Maybe they ran around the leg and he was closer.
did a charm he had never heard of. Totally nailed it. Probably not
Natural
Ron.
talent.
Probably not.
Question 5. Where did the werewolf Lupin go?
Into the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah. Why?
Because it was far and flung.
Far-flung forest. If you get that reference, please write in and let us know.
Yeah, no, for real. We really mean it, that one. If anybody catches that one besides our sister Abby.
Yeah. Yeah. Please write in.
I don't know. What do you think?
It says he's running towards the woods. I think he realizes in animal brain, not this. I don't think this is actively Lupin thinking anything. This is the wolf taking over, and clearly he's in a fight with the dog. And maybe we don't hear how the wolf is, getting beaten up a little bit too, but probably escaping confrontation. Just hey, let's just get out of Dodge. Let's just go. and get away from this fight, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I do think, I think it's lucky he didn't run at the kids.
Yeah.
That was shocking to me.
Yeah, and maybe it was just random, the direction that it just bolted for.
Or maybe that was the last lucid thought Lupin had was, I got to
get away. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Chapter superlative time. Yay. What was your favorite line?
My favorite line was...
We're not going to tell.
We're not going to tell them?
No, here's why. Because our favorite lines are consecutive.
Okay.
And so I'm going to do mine first, simply because it comes first in the narrative.
Okay, sure.
And we're just going to go one right after the other. We're not going to talk about it, because it's one scene.
Nah,
Ready? Are you insane? Said Harry, his voice easily as croaky as Black's. Of course I want to leave the Dursleys. Have you got a house? When can I move in?
Sirius turned right around to look at him. Snape's head was scraping the ceiling, but Sirius didn't seem to care. You want to, he said. You mean it? Yeah, I mean it, said Harry. Sirius's gaunt face broke into the first true smile Harry had seen upon it. That's
heart.
That's
love,
big in the heart area.
All the feels.
and funnies too with the, I didn't realize that the Snape comment was right in there as well. While this
so
conversation gets that batch of lines.
That is the chapter.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Right there. Nailed it.
I agree.
Who is your chapter MVP?
Sirius. And your honorable mention?
Sirius.
Yeah. No,
I don't think we've had a double win since book 1.
It's been a while.
Maybe like the
book
end of
two,
book 2.
we had, I think.
It does not happen very often.
Yeah. No. And honestly, I don't think anyone else did much.
No, people ran away or they passed out.
Right.
That was it.
Not for lack of effort or, trying or anything.
Lupin ran away. Pettigrew ran away. Ron passed out. Hermione passed out. Harry fought some stuff. Passed out.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to Harry.
I know.
If it wasn't Harry, would have been an honorable mention.
Also true.
Hermione,
she passed
really
out.
kind of fails. She just doesn't do it well.
No, she goes.
It's not one that she's ever trained on, though.
Yes, no.
So I'm not judging her. It's it just didn't work. It just didn't work
she had
out.
no idea what she was doing.
So Sirius. Shout out to Harry.
There you go.
Reasonable.
3rd place.
Yeah.
And that wraps us up today. Please, if you know what the far-flung forest is, I am very serious that I want to hear from you on Twitter at NotNamePodcast. Other questions and comments can be directed there as well. You can also find us at thepodcastthat@gmail.com. Send us an email. You can find this show and all of our shows along with our Audible affiliate link that you can get some cool free books and you can find our Amazon link to help support our show with a special list of curated items at our website of thepodcastthat.com.
Subscribe, rate us on iTunes, leave comments there. Also on YouTube. We can be found on Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts. If we're not there, let us know. We'll make it happen. I'm pretty sure we're just about everywhere, though. Special thank you to a voice you will recognize, our target audience perspective, Lorelei, as our voice of the Imaginary Legion. Thank you, Lorelei. Killing it, like always.
Join us next week as we head back to our 5-chap recap episode and our unrestricted section where you will hear from Lorelei and from our first-time reader, Riley, about their view of this one night of 5 chapters. After that, in 2 weeks, we will discuss chapter 21.
Hermione's Secret. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.
Hello, this is Bailey Riddle from the Hogwarts Radio Podcast. The team at thepodcastthat.com is planning something big for its friends, fans, and everyone in the Imaginary Legion. Listen in to next week's 5-chap recap episode for more info. While you're waiting, go to thepodcastthat.com/support us to check out specially curated Harry Potter items at Diagon Alley. Also, you can listen into Hogwarts Radio on your favorite podcatcher to hear more from Luke, me, and the rest of our team for even more Wizarding World magic.